Om Ganadipataye Namaha. Namaste. Welcome to another episode of the Essence of Dharma. So, after yesterday's post about my proposal to screen people who claim to be enlightened by Vedic astrology, there was quite a bit of pushback, not here, but on Facebook. And people made all kinds of negative comments about my looks, my dress or lack thereof. So today I put on my Brahmin thread, which is considered adequate dress in a Vedic context. So, I don't know what to say about these people. They must really be afraid of the naked truth. But the truth is, there is a long association, a long tradition linking astrology and Advaita. Now, where does the Advaita teaching come from? It comes from the Upanishads. The Upanishads are the instructional sections of the Vedas. And the Vedas are very, very old. Nobody knows who wrote them. They're lost in prehistory. But they were compiled and organized by Vyāsadeva about 5,000 years ago. And Vyāsadeva's father, Parāśara Muni, was one of the great authors on astrology. Where does Vedic astrology come from? It comes from the sun god. Now, if anybody ought to know about astrology, it would be the sun. He's one of the main characters. So he gave the knowledge of astrology to the humans millions of years ago, according to Vedas. So Parāśara Muni was enlarging upon this knowledge and giving specific pointers on how to apply it in human life. And some of those pointers are the moksha-kārakas. A karaka is like an indicator, a pointer. So the moksha-kārakas point to someone who can attain liberation in this life, who can reach moksha, who can get emancipation from all their karma and all their sins. And then they attain the enlightenment, the realization that aham brahmasmi, I am Brahman. And this is Advaita. And Vyāsadeva, the son of Parāśara, also wrote the Vedanta. Now the Vedanta is the commentary on the Upanishads, on the 10 most important Upanishads. And it is the basis of the modern teaching of Advaita. Now, moving forward into the modern age, about 1,250 years ago, Sri Śankarāchārya, or the Ādi Śankarāchārya, codified these teachings. He wrote a commentary on Vedanta. And in his commentary, he not only mentions astrology, he says that astrology is absolutely necessary for performing Vedic rites. So without astrology, we wouldn't have the advantage of being able to perform Vedic sacrifices successfully. It would be a hit or miss thing. Because just like everything else in life, there's a right time and a wrong time. Timing is everything, according to the I Ching. Action is necessary, but timing dictates whether it's success or failure. So all the ancient sages knew the science of time. And in fact, our mathematics, modern mathematics, comes from the mathematics developed for calculation of astrology many thousands of years ago in India. Not that zero, for example, was invented by the Persians. No, the Greeks were wrong about that. They got it from the Persians, yeah. But it had been discovered thousands of years earlier in India by the Vedic sages doing astrological calculations. In fact, now, so many people say that astrology is useless. Why? Because all they know is Western astrology. Western astrology is wrong. Wrong, wrong, wrong. And it's useless because it's wrong. How is it wrong? About 2,500 years ago, the astronomical and astrological treatises, again, of the Persians, were being translated into Greek and Latin. And at that time, it was stated that the first degree of Aries is the vernal equinox. The vernal equinox is when the sun crosses the equator on its journey northward. So the vernal equinox is when day and night, or any equinox, the autumnal equinox as well, is the time when the day and night at the equator are of equal length. So on that day, it was stated in the ancient books that position of the sun is the first degree of Aries. Right. At that time, it was true. But in the 2,000 so on years since then, the equinox has moved due to a phenomenon called precession of the equinoxes. Every 27,500 years, the equinoxes move all the way around the zodiac. So 2,500 years is almost 10% of that time. And in that time, the equinox has moved 23 degrees and change. So, as a result of following literally, because they didn't really understand, they're following literally the statement that the vernal equinox is the first degree of Aries. So now they use an imaginary zodiac, which is 23 degrees and something off. Oh, it gets worse. I don't want to go into all the problems with Western astrology. I tried to learn astrology, Western astrology, when I was, 22, 23 years old. I could not get it through my head. It didn't work for me at all. I could not make sense of it. It was completely nonsense. Because what is this? This is called the Ayanamsha. The Ayanamsha is the difference between the actual zodiac and this crazy Western zodiac. And of course, any prediction made on that zodiac is going to be wrong. Oh, man. So there are many, many problems with Western zodiac. That's only the beginning. Western astrology is really quite useless. But Vedic astrology, which is based on the actual physically observed positions of the stars and planets, is quite accurate and very useful. And according to Parāśara, the father of Vyāsadeva, the compiler of the Vedas, the author of Vedanta, which is the root of all the teachings of Advaita today, this astrology is absolutely necessary for performance of Vedic rituals. And Vedic rituals are the way in which we counteract our karma. Without performance of Vedic rituals, meaning karma yoga and bhakti-yoga, you cannot counteract your bad karma. So why are people objecting to using astrology? Oh, there's one more thing I want to say before I get to this. That Ādi Śankarāchārya, who codified the teachings of Advaita 1,200 and something years ago, also relied on astrology for the regulation of the calendar and the temple rites in all the temples that he established all over India. So if Ādi Śankarāchārya is relying on astrology, and Vyāsadeva and Parāśara are relying on astrology, and astrology was given by the sun god, for crying out loud. Astrology is a totally bona fide Vedic science. In fact, it's called the eye of the Vedas. Why? Because just like we may be able to get knowledge about an object that's close by touch, by smell, by taste. But an object that's far away, we can only see with the eyes. So our way of getting knowledge about things that are far away, like the stars and planets and how they affect human life, is only through astrology. What are these positions? What are these vibrations and how do they interact? If you have two vibrations coming from two different directions, they will form a pattern, which you can observe on an oscilloscope, which is called a Lissajous pattern. And a Lissajous pattern will show you whether the vibrations are harmonic or inharmonic, whether they reinforce one another or cancel each other out. So in the same way, the angles between the planets will show whether their vibrations are harmonious or inharmonious, whether they reinforce or cancel each other. It's so simple. It's so direct. You just have to accept it. Vedic knowledge must be accepted. That's why it's called Shruti. It's heard. It's not speculated. It's heard from authorities. So why would anyone object to the use of astrology to confirm the enlightenment of a sadhu or a teacher? Well, there's only one reason I can think of, and that is if they're cheating. Cheaters don't want any kind of confirmation or any kind of verification, because they're frauds. Let me tell you about one guy who's a very popular teacher of so-called Advaita. His Facebook account is not very well secured. So just for the heck of it, one day I was looking through his likes. You can also go to my Facebook account and look through my likes. You know, a man is known by what he loves, right? Or what he likes on Facebook. Well, this guy, all his likes were photos of beautiful Western women. Every single one. Not a single like of a quote by Ramana Maharshi or from the Vedas or anything spiritual at all. So yeah, I'd like to do his chart. You can look at my chart. February 21st, 1947, Clearwater, Florida, USA. You can look at my chart and compare it with the moksha-kārakas given by Parāśara. And you'll see there are 2 or 3, depending on how you interpret the chart. So I give this openly for anyone to verify. This is my confirmation. And my astrologer, he also said, the first look he took of my chart, he said, oh, yeah, you get moksha this lifetime. And you have inner guru. So I'm always listening to the inner guru and following the instructions of the inner guru. That's my nature. It's in my chart. I was born like that. And anybody else who is a bona fide enlightened person also will have these indicators in their chart, and there's no reason to hide it unless you're cheating. Om Tat Sat. Aung Harihi Aung.